Hi everybody, it's Paul Harris with Global Recruiters Network here in sunny California. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. As you may know, I run an executive search firm that specializes exclusively in wireless infrastructure. In the next couple minutes, real briefly, I want to give a real quick download on what happened at the HetNet Expo in Chicago. And so before I do that, I want to kind of touch real quickly on a few of the announcements that came out just last week that really caught my eye. You know, mostly good news. Of course, everything's good news from my viewpoint. But anyway, so the first one was an announcement by Verizon that in 2014 they spent $17 billion with a B dollars in the wireless infrastructure build out. The good news is that they're expecting to spend $17 billion in 2015 on the wireless infrastructure build out, which kind of caught me by surprise in a good way because, as you know, the LTE rollout's kind of coming to an end. So I figured it might be a little bit less spend in 2015, but I guess I was wrong, and that was good news. If anybody has anything to worry about, I would say, in my mind, maybe Ericsson and Alcatel-Lucent, since they are the primary providers for their LTE, infrastructure equipment. The other announcement that came out, which still confuses me. I'm sure I'm not smart enough to figure it out yet, but hopefully I'll figure it out soon. And that is that AT&T's announcement of their Q3 capex actually increased over Q2 to 5.2 billion or 5.3 billion or whatever it was, which kind of confused me because, as we all know, and we've all heard about the quote AT&T slowdown that has happened primarily in Q3, and so I'm just haven't quite got my arms around why their capex went up. So anyways, I'll hopefully figure that out and be able to get back to you. But in general, you guys, everybody that I talk to at AT&T or who's working closely with AT&T is saying, wow, just hold on to your horses. Wait, because 2015 is going to be a monster year, and everything I hear is saying the same thing. So good news there. So back to HetNet Expo at the Chicago Hilton. So what is it? So basically, this is the old DAS forum or DAS in action that's been going on since 2006. But as not everything, but a lot of stuff is shifting to away from the macro and to the DAS and small cell or the heterogeneous network HetNets. It just continues to build and get bigger and bigger, and this was no exception this year. So this had carriers and vendors and system integrators and service companies and verticals, etc. And so when I say verticals, I mean healthcare, hospitality, transportation, education, enterprises, right? Different building owners, etc. And I'd say the biggest play got focused on either probably healthcare and also kind of the building owners as well. So the thing was kicked off by everybody's buddy in this industry, in the wireless infrastructure business, and that's Jonathan Adelstein from PCIA. And by the way, so him, just a huge fan of his, great guy, number one. Number two, I think he's really working hard for all of us in this wireless infrastructure world to kind of streamline things, keep things going in the right way, help speed out the build out, etc., which is very important to all of us in this world. One of the things that I noted that he talked about was a quote from Goldman Sachs, and it was something about the growth in our industry is staggering. That was the quote that I wrote down, and that our business is going to continue to be a top growing sector for the next 10 years. So wow, I'm so excited to be involved in this business when I know it's got such a long future. So that was very exciting. Next thing is he talked about how he's working, PCIA, Jonathan, and all the people that work with him and for him, working with the FCC to kind of, with the regulatory bodies, to streamline how fast we can get not only the macro system but the HetNet system built out as well. And he gave different examples basically of what he was working on, and so I won't go and give the details, but the bottom line is he's helping us streamline this business and get things up faster and not having the things that apply, the regulatory process that applies to the macro system apply to the small cell and DAS. So good job by Jonathan on that one. He also talked about how he and his folks are working with the FCC and the Department of Labor on different training programs. So obviously helping us to hire people in this world that we need in the best way, in the worst way, whatever you want to look at it. People that we need a lot of. So tower techs, etc. And then training for small cell and DAS installers, and then soon it's going to be RF engineers as well. So good job to Jonathan on that one. Then keynote speakers, a guy named James Carlini, a real estate technologist strategist, and then also Paula Dublin from AT&T's ASG group, right, Antenna Solutions Group. So three things that kind of came out of here, in addition to the kind of things I've already talked about. Three things were, number one, carriers, the new shift basically, carriers deploying their own neutral host DAS system. So in the past, AT&T would build theirs for their customers, Verizon would build theirs for their customers, etc. And the neutral host DAS providers would be the tower companies and the DAS experts, specialty companies like the HetNets of the world, etc. So the new world is that the carriers are doing these neutral host DAS systems, and the question is why? Well, the why is because they're kind of changing with the times as different enterprises need this. So different companies, different apartment complexes, different campuses, etc. They're saying, hey, not everybody's only on AT&T or only on Sprint or whatever, so we need a DAS system that can host all these different carriers. So that was very, very interesting to me. Another one was the conversation regarding who pays for this. And so basically the same conversation that happened at DAS and Small Cell Congress. Who pays for it? Is it the carrier? Is it the neutral host provider? Is it the systems integrator? Is it the building owner, etc.? And a lot of the shift seems to be carrying over to the apartment complex owner or the building owner, etc. That was number two. The last one was the whole design and architecture of these small and DAS and small cell systems, and I guess the point is it's no longer being an afterthought, like the building gets built and we say, oh gee, wow, we forgot about the small cell and DAS system, we need to kind of incorporate that. So it's being done on the front end now, and the different multi-tenant LTE solutions for all these high-speed data and video, etc. If it's not available in the different complex that you're in now, many times if they can't upgrade it, they need to do a rip and replace. And it just reminds me, I remember another quote, and I can't remember the guy who did it at DAS and Small Cell Congress, talked about future-proofing the building. So in other words, when you're designing the building, make sure that it can handle upgraded technologies into the future, etc. So anyways, those were the other three things that I wanted to mention from the HetNet Expo. So you guys, in the big picture, in our world, from a job perspective, job order perspective, I can tell you right now, 2013 was great, 2014 was ridiculously phenomenal, and we have more job orders right now in 2014, even towards the end of the year, as we did at this time last year, or probably any time last year. So you guys, it's continuing to grow. 2015 is going to be awesome. Next time I'm going to be talking to you is probably going to be doing my download from, or definitely doing my download from the Tower Exchange in Johannesburg, South Africa, with the top 250 tower owners in the emerging markets. Very, very cool stuff. Haven't decided yet whether I'm going to be going to Tower Meetup in Asia, in Singapore in beginning of December, but if I do, I'll do a download on that one. So that's it, you guys. I hope all is well with your world. If you have any questions or anything that you'd like to hear from me that's different, or updates on something, my contact information is all over my LinkedIn profile. You can't get away from it if you just go on there. So that's it, you guys. Thanks for listening, and I hope this was helpful. Bye-bye, you guys.